important role, and it's a very important role for the Board of Education, is setting policy, adopting policy. The other thing that they do, and well, they employ me. I'm the superintendent, and they hire me. That's their sole hire. I'm the person that if I don't do a very good job, you probably won't see me next year. But they employ the superintendent. They evaluate and appraise the effectiveness of policies. They pass a budget. By law, we have to pass a budget every year by the end of June 30. They do that. They also staff the buildings. They employ the professional staff through the recommendation of the administrative team, myself included. They also adopt a salary schedule. They're also in charge of public relations, planning, educational planning and evaluation. One of the things that we want to take a look at in this is that you know we're not just planning for this year or next year, but we're also planning for the future. And it's important to put ourselves in a position so we're ready for whatever the future might bring. And then there are also the Court of Appeals, in case there is an appeal from one of the policies that we've enforced to the board. They listen to that. Here's another important role of the board. Ethics, what they do. As I mentioned, we have pretty close, not quite 2,100 students. We're in the business to educate all students, and the decisions that are made are on behalf of all students. And that's so important to understand, because if you don't make decisions based on what's best for all students, you may do something good for one, but maybe not for another. And so, in fairness, try and get all the information, and that's an important piece of it, is getting all the information to make the best decision for all students, because that's what we're here for. Obey the laws of Missouri and the United States. There's a lot of school law. I mean, there is a lot of school law. There's a lot of law that we work with on a daily basis, and that are important parts of what we do, and you have to be able to understand them. Board members cannot speak for the entire board. The only way that a board member has power is when there's a quorum, whenever there's a group. Individually, they're no different than anyone else. It's only when the board makes a decision that the board actually has power. I don't know if that makes sense or not. They cannot speak individually for the board, because the board makes the decisions, and obviously you have to have four, you have to have quorum, you have to have four to have action. So board members cannot speak for the entire board. Another thing is working with each other. They also have the responsibility of delegating the authority of the administration to myself, and they hold me accountable. They evaluate me constantly, and trust me, if I'm not doing something right, they let me know. Another important part of being on the Board of Education is making decisions based on facts rather than influential individuals or special interest groups. Again, getting back to the ethics and making decisions about for all students. Avoid conflicts of interest. Avoid using the board to benefit themselves, and then divulging confidential information unless required by law, which sometimes we are. Now, what's it really like? Thought I might throw this in. I think as I was thinking about this, I think the relationship that the board and the superintendent have, the trust that they put in me, to do an outstanding job is critical. I spend a lot of time communicating with the board because when you have as many students and as many staff as we have, obviously they're going to hear things. And I want them to have all the information. We have a very open relationship. If they hear something that they're concerned about, that someone's concerned about, I want them to get on the phone and give me a call, communicate with me. It's really important. The pledge that we have to each other is that we don't surprise each other. If they have a concern, they let me know, and I do the same. And it works really well. It's all about communication. The other thing that they need to do, and what they really have to do, is they have to process a lot of information sometimes. It's important because the information that they will get a packet. We meet on a monthly basis, but they will get a packet of information that has all kinds of documentation. So they have to be able to sort through that to understand. The meeting format, it's pretty straightforward. We have an agenda. We go through the agenda. There are opportunities on most all business items for the board to ask questions. Quite honestly, I like for the board to ask all the questions that they want before the board meeting, because if they're asking about a bill or about something else, a lot of times at the board meeting, I'm not going to know that. And I want them to have all the information, so I encourage them to ask as many questions as they can before the board meeting actually starts, as well as bringing issues to the entire board. It's a meeting for the board. I'm there by invitation only. And for something to be addressed, it has to be placed on the agenda by law. And so we encourage, again, that communication and them to talk to myself, the board president. Actually, the board president sets the agenda, and he and I work very closely together in setting it. So here's another thing that I talked to him about. And maybe this is more information than you wanted to know. I don't know. But as I mentioned, it's about kids. One of the things that happens is that sometimes they will have comments or concerns from patrons about different things, whether it be a child and an issue or a staff member or whatever the case may be. And what I continually talk to them about is having a process in place. You don't have an organization this big without having a process in place to deal with issues and concerns. And it's important that even as board members, as I mentioned, they don't have the authority as individuals, but if they will address the concern by putting it back into the system. Let me give you an example. If I have a parent that calls me that says that their child got a C in a class and really earned a B, okay, the first thing that I'm going to do is obviously acknowledge that there's a concern. I'm going to direct that parent to the appropriate building who can set up a meeting to determine what that is. And then the second part to that is that I always follow up to make sure. I wouldn't say that I'm always able to please everyone. In other words, not everyone gets what they want, but as long as the process is fair and they go through this, then as far as I'm concerned, we're doing what we're supposed to do. It's only when we don't do that that I become very concerned. As I mentioned, it's about the kids. Is anybody counting? How many times have I said that? I'm trying to reach 25. Okay, what not to do? Make a promise, like I said, that you can fix something. And again, I'm just telling you the nuts and bolts of this thing because, like I said, individually, board members have no authority. It's only when when they're together, that they have authority. Told you I get to brag. I'm very proud of our school district. I'm very proud to let you know that for the second year in a row, we are a district that was awarded distinction in performance by the state of Missouri. That's Missouri's grade card, if you will. There's a possible 14 points. Odessa R7 school district scored 14 out of 14. What are some of those areas? Well, it's based on our student test scores. It's based on our attendance rates, which our attendance rates are significantly higher than they have ever been, number one, in this district. Number two, significantly higher than the state average, something we're very proud of. Graduation rates. In other words, how our kids, are they graduating? Are they dropping out of school? What are they doing? Our graduation rates are significantly above the state average. And once again, the highest that they've ever been. Something that we're very proud of. Now, we're not perfect. We're not perfect. But we recognize these things. We also applaud our parents, our staff, our students, administrators, and all the support from all of you. It's not just about us, it's our school, and all of our school, and we're very proud of it. We've had a lot of gains. Like I said, we're not perfect. There was a very nice article in the paper last week that really hit it on the head as far as our test scores and how far we've come, and we're very pleased with that because it was very factual. So I'm very proud to work for you and the kids. It's a great place, great school, great community. I thank you very much for your attention. I hope I didn't put you to sleep, but I will be around afterwards if you have any questions, comments. Do we have a complaint box anywhere? Just joking. No. Thank you.